I wanted to go over this right here, ads, and how the internet is fundamentally changing and not necessarily for the better. As when I look at it, I'm like, a lot of people are talking about ad blocking on YouTube, which I get. That's a thing that's going to happen. And it just means more ads for YouTube unless you use YouTube Premium. So it's going to spike their monthly sales for that and also drive in more ad revenue. I get it. From a monetary standpoint, why wouldn't you do it? And there's no competition in the space, which we'll talk about some of the other stuff that exists outside of YouTube, but a lot of it relies on YouTube. And I think a lot of that is going to fundamentally change as well. But let's first talk about that. Boom. That's going to happen. Get over it. It's just something we just got to suck up and accept. Unless a competitor actually comes along that is not relying on YouTube. But looking down, another thing that's happening right here in June next month is Manifest v3 and the sunsetting of Manifest v2 for a browser. That means ad block will get neutered for the internet as a whole, pretty much. There's some changes here. Firefox has done a great job. I left a link on christitus.com to this AdGuard site. It's a great little article that I encourage people to go through and read. But it's basically they make it to where they're going to support V2 for longer than Chromium-based browsers. And most people are like, well, I don't use Firefox. I use Brave or I use Vivaldi or many other Edge. All those are Chromium-based browsers. There's Firefox, and then there's everybody else. Firefox is really the only other non-Google entity, so to speak, that's not reliant on Chromium, which is Google's browser. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Firefox, I think, is going to see a surge of users. So if you're a Firefox user, don't worry about this. But if Chromium-based users start seeing a lot more ads and you absolutely have to have them, well, you might try Firefox, or we can talk about other workarounds as well. Getting down into third-party sites, a lot of people are already writing in the comments frantically, I'm using Odyssey, I'm using, FreeTube or whatever application. A lot of these sites rely on YouTube. The short of it is creators don't upload to those sites because we don't make money on them. I mean, if we make anything, it's like pennies. It's nothing. I stopped really syncing to Odyssey and other sites just because there's no point in it. There's no money there at all. So why would you sync to that site? And right now, some users are, well, a couple pennies here is better than nothing. And well, that's true. A lot of times it's not a sustainable business model because if they ever get big enough, YouTube's just going to shut down their API. And I think they're going to shut down their API regardless, because anytime you mention a Linux utility that we use to download YouTube videos on here, which it starts with YouTube and it usually has a dash and then it usually has 2 letters after it to download videos. And that anytime any content creator has made a video about it, they've gotten copy striked by YouTube. So you just don't make videos about that. And that's directly using a lot of the stuff they can just shut down, such as their API access. And that means many other sites that I just talked about would also break all their sync tools, meaning they couldn't sync those YouTube videos. And it would also lock in content creators over here to where you couldn't sync it easily to another spot. It'd also break a lot of tools. But if they really got greedy, this is totally where I could see that going. And there's not another site on the internet that is even close to what YouTube offers. I don't care what you say in the comment section. It's just the realities of today. And I don't know what that looks like in the future. I just kind of wanted to point this out as, hey, even all the other sites I've tried, most of them still rely on YouTube. Nobody really has a good way of even competing with YouTube. It's a monopoly. And that's just kind of where we're at. And that brings us to the fourth way that I see you getting around ads, and that's like custom DNSs. And that's DNS is just domain name resolution, and it's a service that basically says, hey, google.com resolves to this IP address. And you can create your own custom DNS. Pi-hole is one of the favorites out there. You can use a Raspberry Pi and create your own, and it would block ads as it comes in. So if anything's coming from AdSense, it'll just go ahead and shut that down. And these you just can't get around, right? Well, the problem is, as a service like YouTube, there's issues with using Pi-holes. I've set up these custom DNSs in my environment and run them. And I notice whenever I pull up YouTube on like my TV or even a phone, sometimes it starts acting a little funny. It would be very easy for Google to tackle this and say, hey, if you don't allow AdSense in, you don't get to watch YouTube. That would be a pretty easy thing to program. So while right now custom DNSs do work and they are pretty much a silver bullet, I do anticipate this changing in the future too. These are all very easily patched by Google, and it kind of is alarming that so many people just think, oh, well, I can just move over to here, and it's good to know about these workarounds for now, but I do anticipate all 4 of these doors being closed. So that brings us, what does the internet look like in the future? Well, you can probably fill in some apocalyptic thing, but for me, I always love having my own site, christitus.com. I'm not going to platform or move my stuff to some other site that's owned by someone else that's out of my destiny. I would much rather just say, hey, if you ever want a fix from me, go to christitus.com. Bam. It's always there. It always will be there. I own it, and I control everything end to end. So it's always going to be up. And it's always going to have my content, and I never have to worry about an algorithm or anything. And if you don't like ads, just block them. I don't care about ad blockers. I make less than a fraction of a penny off of an ad. Even here on YouTube, ads really don't pay very much. It's not where you make a lot of money on YouTube. And that's just kind of what's happening. These are the doors you can go through. The doors that are being shut up are those first 2, but those other 2 I do think will get plugged by Google. Probably not this year, but in the coming years. I totally see it as a slippery slope, one that once they start going down, I don't ever see them turning back, because why would they? They can just make a lot more money, and as Google starts to lose so much more money from their actual search because people are using AI-based search that's just superior, then where else are they going to make up the money? That's when YouTube can really come in, and they're going to really squeeze this thing for all it is worth. And that's just where we're at right now. I just wanted to kind of make this video to say, hey, here's all the ways to disable ads, and by all means, go for it. I don't think it's piracy or any kind of crazy thing. You do you. Here's the ways you can do it. But just know these ways will eventually go away. And it's something that kind of is concerning to me, but also, hey, there's always traditional web that's always been there. And I just want to make this video informing everybody. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I know this is a little bit different format than my usual, but I'm getting back into kind of creating videos. And also, I have a new editor, video editing style, where I'm moving from Final Cut to DaVinci Resolve. And that's kind of what I've taken some of the time off. I've also put up a new channel called Titus Tech Talk. And I encourage you to go check it out. Titus Tech Talk is daily content from me, snippets, entire live streams, everything that I've been doing, as I've been doing 2 to 3 live streams every single week, which I'll continue. But I will be making more videos over here. I just needed to learn my new video editing, which I'm still learning, but you'll see these videos get better and better in the coming months as I get better at editing using Resolve. But that's enough housekeeping. Enjoy your ad-free YouTube experience while it lasts.